Prison for using drugs?
For using drugs, 0.
How many people went to prison 2 years ago for using
0.
drugs? 5 years ago?
In the last 15 years, no one was arrested in Portugal because they were caught using drugs.
A great success!
The thing is, well, it won't work if you just take it there and if you just go there and you just decriminalize drug usage, that's not going to work.
Supporters of the idea to decriminalize drugs sometimes point to Portugal as evidence that treating drug use as a health issue, not a criminal issue, works. Back in late September, we ran a story about an addiction expert criticizing Oregon's experiment with decriminalizing user amounts of nearly every hard drug you've ever heard of. That happened with the passage of Measure 110. Oregon is doing nothing to stop people from using drugs, which is why we have the problems that we have.
This is Portland, Oregon, 2 years after decriminalizing personal amounts of hard drugs. The open drug use, the deaths, worse than ever.
He's probably smoking fentanyl. See that?
Yeah.
And we're like, we're in what's basically a police car. It's unmarked, but we're pretty obviously the police.
I'm a cop, you idiot!
Hi there, put that knife away, please.
A recent audit found just 1% of people receiving tickets have actually called the hotline.
This seems like a classic example of something that is being done for 100% ideological reasons. It's being done for absolutely zero practical purpose.
While the Prime Minister has sent inflation for gas, heat, and groceries soaring, there is one product that's actually come down in price: powerful opioids.
So this is what it looks like when you're a young dude and you have unlimited supply of hard drugs. Somebody put a mask on his face, and then he took it off. And his crack pipe or whatever he's smoking is there. He lost his shoe. He just came right out of his shoe too. I mean, that's sad.
The Prime Minister has spent $100 million on so-called safe supply. One Global News reporter went into the street to find out where all these drugs are going. Turns out they're being resold to other addicts in order to raise the money to buy deadly fentanyl. Will the Prime Minister cancel the dollars for drugs and instead put the resources into treatment for addicts?
That is a fair compromise, no?
That is a fair compromise. Very fair.
Mr. Speaker, we are pretty fed up with this fight against evidence-based programs that actually are saving lives.
Don't make me tap the sign.
We cannot allow the Conservatives to take us back to the failed ideology of the past. Even Harper's advisor, Ben Perrin, thinks they're speaking nonsense. So just stop it and save lives.
All right, let's everybody just calm the fuck down.
No common sense. The evidence is seen in the tragic faces of addicts who lie overdosed on the pavement in the downtown east side of Vancouver, where after this Prime Minister spent $100 million handing out free drugs to addicts, he has led to a 300% increase in overdoses. Will he stop giving dollars for drugs and instead follow my common sense plan to put the resources into treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free?
46,000 overdoses have been reversed in safe consumption sites. That member says that he will stop that. I want him to speak to the parents of the people that would have been lost if there weren't safe consumption sites and safer supply.
I always try and put it in the context of my own children. If they, God forbid, ended up addicted to drugs and they ended up downtown on the streets, the last thing I would want is for someone to give them more drugs, watch them overdose, give them Narcan, give them more drugs, give them Narcan, until basically eventually they just successfully overdose one day.
This This is ridiculous.
Full of pride in a world made of steel, made of stone. What a feeling is believing. I can't have it all now. I'm dancing for my life. Take your passion and make it happen. You just come alive now. I'm dancing through my life. What a
People are dying because the policies of this prime minister are killing them. His policies are flooding the streets with drugs that now go for $1 a hit. You can buy 26 hits of hydromorphine, which is an analog to heroin, for $30, Mr. Speaker.
I'd buy that for $1.
These are drugs paid for by Canadian tax dollars under a program by this government that has led to a 300% increase in drug overdose deaths.
And you never paid for drugs. Not once.
Why won't they get some common sense, end dollars for drugs, and put our people in treatment?
People have to stay alive long enough to get to treatment. People are dying because of the toxic, tainted drug supply. When people are on safe supply, the CMAJ article yesterday talked about less drug use. Less overdoses.
Our last figures came from 2021, and we had 63 overdoses deaths.
Less petty crime. This is an evidence-based project and program that it meets the test of evidence and science.
Whatever do you mean? I am blind. I cannot see. Damn. No. I am blind.
The theory is that if Prime Minister puts $100 million of hydromorphine on the streets, that people won't use more dangerous drugs.
Not a great plan.
The reality, in both reports from the National Post, the Globe and Mail, and the data from the ground, is that the addicts are taking the hydromorphine, selling it to kids.
Oh, shit! What the hell? This is as good as the shit I normally do. Oh.
Taking the profits to buy fentanyl, dying of overdoses. The kids then get bored of the hydromorphine and they take deadly fentanyl. That's why people are dying. Will the government stop the policies that are killing people and put our people in treatment instead?
Shut up, you old pig!
What a bitch.